Hello there. How you guys doing? You know, already hump day done. Tomorrow's Thursday. Pushing on through to that weekend. It's good to see you guys. Crusty old crow misses his subscribers and misses the visitors that come in and listen to him rant here on my TCCC, my custom creations corner or whatever I call it. I was thinking about it. You guys keep hearing me say that. Whatever I choose to call it, and the C could stand for a lot of things, right? And yeah, here it is. The Crow's Customs Corners, concepts, creations, characters, conversions, Crimson for the Crimson Guard, contemporary, collaborative, crappy, comic, comedic, cheap, contemptuous. You could put 1,000 C's on there. I'll probably cover it at some point. So, you guys know this. This is kind of my daily content right now, working on conversions and whatnot in between getting new figs and getting new news for Joe, which we're getting tomorrow. Because tomorrow, I checked the position of the moon and the stars. It tells me tomorrow's the 29th, and at 11 a.m. We're gonna get some news on our beloved classified and GI Joe stuff from Emily, Lenny, and the crew over at Hasbro Pulse. And I was saying last video, it's like I'm not all that excited because I kind of think we aren't getting that big of a surprise this time. But and the surprises that might come, they'll always pull me over. Maybe I'll change my position, but not likely. I don't know. I don't know what it is now. Have I become jaded in my less than 1 year of collecting classified? Has that happened already? I don't know. No, I just yeah, I think the honeymoon phase is over and I'm just enjoying my nice marriage with classified. But I predict the surprises now. They don't bowl me over. They're still nice when they happen though, right? Just like in a real marriage. Hey, so what am I working on? I figured I'd just show you guys the updates and then call it a quick video tonight. I didn't get as much done today as I was hoping to, but when do I ever, right? The problem I'm having is with the Adderall that's helped me with my ADHD is I'm hyper focusing on little things. So at this point, I thought I'd be into the easy, well, not the easy, the more relaxing part of these figures because I work on like 2, 3, 4 at a time. I thought I'd be into the camouflage by now, but just before I'm ready to start, every time I find something else, I'm like, no, before you do the camouflage on that, you've got to finish that because you got to do that. And that's just the way it is for my head. So, did I get anything productive done? Of course I did. I got a lot of stuff done, but can I really notice it right now? I don't know. Maybe you guys will from the last video. So, let's start with where we are on Blizzard. So, Blizzard Zuzi's coming along. I've got that base coat done and some of that scrim laid on there, that neatite. And I've just been drying some white on there. Now I'll go over this with a wash. I'll put some metal on certain areas, chip it up a bit, make it look like an older paint job kind of deal, and then dry brush a bit more white over it to freshen it up. And just call that one a day. So that's a tomorrow or Friday gun. Haven't done anything with that Canada. This would be a C7A2. States, I'm not sure. M4s is what they're using. I'm not sure what we're going with here, but that one's going to be for a different Winter Soldier. You guys know I am finishing up just a few Winter line, just like I did a few Tiger Force and a couple of Night Force or Ninja Force, what have you. I like to do little pockets of things, and I did a little Cobra pocket, but I'm going back to that Cobra pocket. I'm theming my Python Patrol now as Cobra Hiss 788 operators. So guys I can attach to that fire team if and when I get that fire team after my trip to England, which is next week. Oh my God, I'm leaving next week. So with him, like I said, I just was bringing out a little bit more depth out of the rabbit fur, I call it, but I am going to start layering some more into the gaps. Like I said, I've got to be mindful of where the arm swing is and make sure that I don't obstruct that too much. I kind of like how much play I get out of his arms here. So I'll figure this out. This might also get converted into backpack straps because he will have a backpack at some point. It's just going to be a small one for him. Just a small little day bag. I don't want a big honking backpack like you would see with, say, Outback. I want something smaller, even smaller than maybe Grunts on his back, or at least Grunts at a minimum, that kind of size. And then I've just put some features on his belt there to kind of, take away from the fact that I can't put web gear on this guy. The figure's too wide and too thick now to put any kind of standard classify webbing that I have or any of the stuff from Loki Wartooth. But I did have a couple of armbands, and I really wanted the pouches for the belts. So Loki, you should know that your armbands are showing up on a few of my figures where I'm just taking the pouches off and putting them on there. Like, when we talk about what's free printable, what to throw in a grab bag, I know you got grenades, I know you got close combat weapons, helmets, you got everything these guys want in a bag of chips. But I'm wondering if there's any prints for just mag pouches that people can attach to custom webbing designs and chest rigs and whatnot. I was looking on that site and I didn't really see any, but maybe you know of another site. But I digress. For the legs for him, like I said, these are the original Viper's legs. I didn't do very much with them. There is going to be the ochre brown padding and the flat black, much like the original design of Blizzard. I've covered that before, guys. And there you can see I actually have a grunt backpack put aside for him, because I was looking at the size, and that's about the size of the backpack I want for him. I don't want it much bigger than that. Snowjob's already got a big honking backpack, and if I'm thinking on an Arctic patrol, I mean, if all of them are carrying backpacks that big, that's a long patrol. That's not a fighting patrol. You would have to have, if these guys are lugging their big rocks, you have to have a couple of guys that are moving a little lighter, ready to fight, ready to drop, right? Everybody's ready to drop their rock and fight, but I just mean like somebody like this on this, maybe skirting the line of Snowjob and the others who are carrying those big bundles, moving lightly on the flanks, just as a anti-wolf element, for example. Yeah, for the wolf pack. Anyways, that's what I was going with for there. This other backpack I haven't done anything to. I put Storm Shadow's sword on there because if you guys have remembered in my last video, I'm doing a Scarlet, the Widow's Scarlet Arctic version for my wolf pack, and I'm going to make this all wintry. I just didn't do anything to it today, so it's still the same state you left me, but that's kind of the image we're going for on that. And as far as the weapons go, she'll still have her crossbow. I'm just going to winterize it a bit. And I'm thinking about doing what I did with my Uzi for Night Raven here, or Night Owl, pardon me, my custom there is just thinking about making my own custom stock for it, right? For this one. Yeah, look how many Uzis. You guys heard me say if it's two weapons I'm tired of in the classified, it's the shotguns and it's the Uzis. Yet here I am. I've manipulated 2 to 3 Uzis now, because it's like if you read the file card or look at the box, half of it, it's kind of significant to the character when they have the Uzi. Even Steeler had an Uzi, and that was my line in the sand. I'm like, fuck no, I'll find him something else. But yeah, Scarlet's gonna get her crossbow back, and that reminds me, guys. I recently jumped onto Facebook garage sale to get my to get the odd figure here and there, and I got, and I've been telling you about it. When I got Wolf Spider, for example, from the same guy I got my Breaker and Ram, that was awesome. The guy who I got Kamakura from last week, I'm gonna see him again tomorrow to get my Blue Ninjas. He has a set put aside for me. Like I said, guys, I try to budget this. I could go buy it all at once, but I mean, I'm not being responsible. And you guys know how hard it is when you're collecting this stuff. Half of you guys talk to me on the side, and I'm like, yeah, man, it gets bad, right? So you gotta have some self-control. But I'll see him tomorrow. I'll get those Blue Ninjas. I think I still have some ninjas lined up with another guy when I get back from England, and the HIS 788 tag team, fire team. I'm really, really excited to get that. That'll be right after I get back from England, which is next week, guys. Hey, before I show you where we're going with sci-fi and our sketches and rough work with the new Wolverine background characters that you guys suggested, and I've twisted up. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe, guys. We're this close to 300. That's awesome. And at 350, we have that contest where I give away a new figure based on what I find in the wilds of Ottawa here, after talking to you about what you need in your collection and what I can get for it. But I also going to build you a custom based off your entry from the 350 contest video, which you have to go back on my channel and you'll see me holding up a sign. That's where you enter. And there's a whole prize pool in there, including 3D parts from Loki Wartooth, some custom drawings, a stage. you know, whatever I find. But when I'm in England, I just got it on good authority today that I might not have the easiest time finding any Valaverse stuff out there. So I am still going to be seeing what is in England for 6-inch line stuff, either classified or classified like, whatever I can grab my hands on. And if I can find anything interesting there, that makes a good prize pool. You'll know I'll add that to the 350 prize, okay? So we're almost there, guys. Like, share, subscribe. Let's push to that 300, and then after England, I'll worry about the 350, okay? Hey, so speaking of me, about me, by me, from me to you, me would also like to remind you about this Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern time. Crusty Old Crow is going to go live for the first time ever. It's going to be Saturday morning GI Crow. So you can stay in your pajamas, grab your toys, run on down to your phone, put it in the living room in front of you, sit cross-legged in front of it. I'll come on and I'll be like, hey, hey, kids. And you can all go, hi, Crow. And then, you know, I'll probably be a joint or two in by then anyway. So, you know, they'll all be good. But I was talking to Aaron, the toy enhancer. He's been giving me a bit of advice, you know, man, getting started, you know, don't worry about this. This will go and everything like that. And that's helped shake off some nerves, you know. But the truth of it is, guys, is I'm not at all nervous to talk to you, and you should know that. I think you should know that going in. Some of yous, I might be a little like, hey, man, you know way more about this stuff than I do. I defer to your opinions and things like that. But what I was telling Aaron is, guys, for a long time, towards the end of my career, my job was to train guys to be, you know, master corporals and sergeants and all that stuff in the Army. Like, I taught leadership courses, and if you're not confident about what you're talking about in front of your audience, then how are they ever going to be confident in knowing it, right? So when I talk to you guys, I'm going to probably be just like this, you know, because yeah, for some reason, I just don't feel that way. Nerves rattled. No, not when it comes to interacting with you guys. I'm not that crow, right? But as far as the flow of it goes, guys, it's my first one. I'm going to be forgiving about it with myself. I'm going to try and do right by you guys. But, like, feel free to ask me any questions you want on the first one, okay? When I figure out what the format will be, Aaron talked to me about doing trivia, and I'm not against doing trivia. He does trivia on Tuesday nights. He's like, you go ahead and do trivia. I'd love to play trivia. And I'm thinking that might be a Saturday morning thing, quick trivia games, like I said. And maybe we'll do some prizes as well for that as we get going, right? So, yeah, you know, it's just going to be... It'll be a channel by consensus, guys. Yeah, we're a murder of crows here. That's what I call us. And you guys let me. You can call me cock, and I'm good with that. Chain of command, crusty old crow. It is what it is. Or maybe I'm just a dickhead. I don't know. But we're going to have some fun this Saturday. So, sci-fi. This is where I left off. These are the legs. I don't know if this is Apex or another Fortnite character or whatnot, but I told you guys the other day, this is compatible with a Marvel style War Machine torso. When I looked at it again today, there's a millimeter difference that's preventing this ball from sitting in that socket. That's why you're seeing that sticky tack in there right now, just so I can do test fitting and see what I got to do. So what I'm probably going to end up doing is I'm either going to end up shaving this down by a millimeter at a time until that ball can seat in that socket, or I am going to flatten the end of that ball smooth and put a little shunt in here and just put two magnets together and have it just be magnetized. These are simple solutions. Guys would recognize this from Warhammer 40k tabletop solutions for things like dreadnoughts or Imperial Guard Sentinel solutions, for just that little point of juncture where the thing meets and it's not working out and you want it turning. Magnet. So I'll do that. But that's if I can't get the ball to seat naturally. And then, so this is where you see rub, right? You see how it's rubbing because I haven't done anything to protect it. This whole piece is very frictioned up, right? So that's another reason why you kind of want to keep your... When I pick a color set and I look at where the figure done or like began, like I mentioned in another video, the last thing I really want to do is do an entire repaint. Unfortunately, for winter stuff, that's what you're looking at most of the time. But when I look at a character that's, say, all donned in black, I'm usually going to keep those color sets black, or not black, but dark colors, right? And I will strategically work the joints so that where I think the rub's going to go when it comes down, what you ideally want to see is either the dark gray or the black that you primed or dry brushed, and it's gone under that, and then it won't stand out as much. Now, if I were doing the whole figure in white and you keep seeing, like with this knee, that gray popping out, to me that I can work that, because like I said, these are posing on the shelf. Once I've got the whole figure done, I will go over, do a protectorant coat, and then do the knees again and do that coats and things like that. And that's just me feeling out how to go about it. I'm sure there's more effective ways, but the bottom line is I'm never intimidated by not having a perfect plan. You know, in the Army, when you start going up the ranks, one of the things they tell you is you don't have to come up with a plan, but you better come up with a plan right now. Right? Like, you don't have to come up with the perfect one, but you better get one now. Go, right? And you learn to adapt. No plan survives first contact, and making figure conversions is exactly like that. So with Sci-Fi's torso, you'll see I covered up that Stark emitter, or that arc reactor plate. I'm telling you guys, this is my little hack for making quick little plates. I was doing it with bowl and everything. It's just cheap little fridge magnets you get for free from your local cannabis shop, or whoever still has hand-away advertising things like business cards and magnets or books of matches. But this I thought was fine because it's pliable, it's bendable, and you can paint over it, you can prime it, or you can put things over it, and at worst, it's fucking magnetic. That's pretty cool. So that was my little hack. I wouldn't use it for a large panel piece, but for little places to use as shunts, spacers, anything, small little armor packs and things like that. It's pretty good. So you see, I fit those arms back on. Those arms are the same. These are the arms from this figure where I got the legs, but you can see that they lock right into that Marvel torso, right? So Kit Bash working out so far, so good. What else have I done for this? Okay, well, I found his hands. Like I said, I also found his original feet that he was supposed to have. I had added another set of McFarlane feet. I found his space boots. I'm not sure which I'll keep. I kind of like both, but I want to see how the paint turns out on these first before I decide if I'm going to shift to the other. I also like that it has its own belt assembly. I don't have to worry about fitting one on, although I am glad that I have a bunch. Thank you, Loki. But that spares me a little bit of, added consideration to slow me down. So what you're going to see for the camouflage on Sci-Fi, because I got to reflect that green, I got to have some of that silver on there from the original Sci-Fi. I got to have that light green with that silver, and then I'm good to go, and some black, right? And then I'm good to go to make it winter, but I have to have that reflected. So I'll show you guys how I kind of go about working out a problem like that before I sit down and paint it. And it's sketching, guys. And you actually, if you've been with this channel since the beginning, this was one of the first things I ever did outside of a figure review, is show sketches of character concepts that I was working on before I even knew I was going to do conversions. I was just doing them to do a drawing. Thought, look, this is fun, right? Now I do them because that's a blueprint for something I'm actually executing. So this was Sci-Fi, my second version of the draft. So you can see on the chest, that's not what's going on his chest on the figure, clearly. But it was my reminder that Sci-Fi had those silver ribbing, like silver ribs. I think it was 4 or 5 vertical lines going down the front of his chest that was incorporated into the green, and I felt like those are major uniform key factors that I want to put in there. But I'm gonna have to do a variation of them across this new chest, right? Maybe they'll be narrower and smaller lines, but they'll still be there and reflected somehow. The head, I'll pick up the head and show you later. I haven't done anything painting wise to it, but the head and the scarf I showed you the other day, that's his way of covering up his tech, right? There's a whole backstory about Seymour. To me, this was the opportunity of doing kind of like what they did in that movie Battleship, where it was, he was a war amputee, But you know, after the end state deal or whatever it is that happened that forced him back in, like they you know, he's working with different kind of prosthetics and things. So he wasn't an amputee; he was paralyzed, and that's what it was. And so he has all these synaptic relays and dermal tissue lights and things that are actually enabling him to move. Right, but yeah, it's whatever. That's the crow's business. Don't you worry. But that big cannon down there, I'll talk about in a minute. But if you see the cam pat, I shaded above it. What I'm trying to do, it's I try to make it like a rain effect where I want the dark green. I want the dark green and the flat black to fade like a cam pat rain pattern almost into that normal green that we're used to seeing with sci-fi, and then that will be a drip effect into the white, so almost like he's like ice melting down till all you've got is the white and just the occasional drip on the pants. I'm not sure how else to describe what I'm seeing in my head, but it'll be there on the character because I don't think that's overly challenging of a concept to do. I'll just call up the sketch again. It really shouldn't be overly challenging. Like I said, it's just like dark and light intermixed, you know, dark layering over light, light layering over white kind of deal, and then it drips down like that. So that big honking cannon was going to be my other feature for this, right? Like at first I was thinking, wouldn't it be better to have a sci-fi that was like a non-lethal, like everything he did was like tech that just fucked everything up, EMPs, all that other stuff. And then I was like, no, you know what? Yeah, sci-fi had a laser gun, and if you don't have laser guns with sci-fi, you haven't made sci-fi. So I went through some of my old kit and some model pieces, and I started pulling out useful pieces off of certain lines and models. And like I said in another, you saw it in another video, guys, I keep a box of model sprues for like car kits, plane kits, sci-fi kits, Warhammer 40K, just leftover pieces. And they're invaluable when you are scratch building a piece of kit for a 6-inch figure because they're so well formed and they just, yeah, they just go, right? So this precious little cannon took me about 4 minutes to find the pieces for and conceive, and about another 20 to refine after that. But that's basically, I'm going to do more with the front handle. There's your ad hoc. If you ever wondered what happened to that side grenade from my Crimson Guard mortal thing that I'm working on the side, that's taking a sweet time too, because I just not feeling it right now. That's where it is. So that's going to be a side handle. I'm going to do some cover, like bracket work here. And then he'll basically hold it like Vasquez in or whatever her name was in Aliens, like so it's that kind of a thing. But that's a piece of a sci-fi, was it a gung-ho weapon, I think, the old gung-ho weapon. I hated his sci-fi weapons, I really did, and I was more than happy to cut them down. In fact, I'd put it back together and cut it again. But yeah, so you'll be holding it like that. Now, I have a couple of options here because I do want to have that traditional black hose going back. There are places on this character organic for mounting a cable, like in that top shoulder, but I'm thinking maybe a magnet clasp or something. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe I'll just glue it down. I have no idea. We'll see what the days bring. But I have a port for a cable in the back, or I could have a top plug for one, but I think that's going to interfere with the hand grip more than I want it to. So the parts you're seeing are a propane tank from one model kit, a barrel from a 40K kit, the grenade from the McFarlane Artist Proof Riptide kit, whatever, another, 1/35th scale toolbox lid, a gung-ho weapon, these triangular pieces on either side, and this drum are actually part of the 1/44th scale Star Wars, not the TIE fighter, but the other Imperial ship. I can't remember what they called it, where the wings were sideways in Rogue One, and they were the inner atmosphere like TIE fighter. It's from that. And then some more just add pieces here and there. And that turns it into an underslung heavy laser cannon, right? So I'll get that pinned up. Like I said, I am going to cover it up so you can't tell so easily that what that was, just that it's a handle bracket mount. that would make sense for such a large weapon. So that'll go in his El Handos, right? Well, which way? Oh, I can't even pose him because he's so incomplete, but you'll get the idea, right? Like that. Do. But he had to have some secondary weapons, and did I put them in here? No, of course I didn't. I'm basically going back through Gung Ho's old line of weapons, and there was one shotgun I think he had. Well, it looked kind of like a shotgun. I was like, all right, if Sci-Fi is gonna have another sci-fi weapon, it'll just come from something they provided. So I have Roadblock's big ass Fortnite cannon. I have a couple weapons from Gung Ho. I don't need to build another custom gun. I've gotten that one piece of work out of the way. The last thing I'll show you for him, besides, do I have his head here? Or is it in the box? Oh man, isn't it awesome how disorganized the crow gets? And he's just fine with it, right? You don't have to be fine with it. I have to be fine with it. That's my logic. So you have the option of turning me off. I can't turn me off, or else I would. Anyways, I can't find his head right now, but I will show you his helmet. And I'm actually really happy about this. So what I did with this one, I'm just going to get something to hold it with. Tweezer piece. Of course, they're everywhere when you don't need them. There we go. We'll just use these. And then when you do need them, you can't find them, right? So this is a steel core helmet. Now, I've got the lens all covered up with that goopy goop sticky tack because I just took it outside to prime it all because I've added pieces to the front of it and to the sides and the back. I've added some extra plating to the back, a sight piece to the top left there. Actually, it's two pieces, but they're glued together to look like one big piece. It's just a fancy little sighting system, and then almost like some extra respiratory cables. Now, what I was gonna do was see how it turned out by putting that sticky tack over it before I went and took it outside. And oh, look at that! Ain't that pretty? I think that's going to look really nice for a sci-fi helmet when I'm done. And that will also, start off dark. It'll have probably some little light details to it, but that's also part of that image of dark going into light, that there's trees, but there's snow on the ground kind of combat. That's kind of what we were going for with this. So there's essentially, I'll just pop that on there. Now he falls and shatters, but that's essentially where we're going with just the sci-fi helmet. Now, most of the times you'll see them on my shelf. I imagine I'll have the flesh cyber head and scarf up there. But if I do a really good paint job on this or add anything more, who knows? But that's sci-fi as he is right now, guys. Scarlet, I've shown Blizzard, but I haven't shown you Blizzard's helmet yet, which I got the part on. Now, I was kind of afraid it was going to go down that way, and it did pardon me, I just noticed something unsmoothed on me. What I noticed was when I work with the glue that I do work with, it's not really good with clear plastic and keeping the plastic clear if I don't have good airflow, right, in the area. And the problem with working on the inside of a helmet is it doesn't matter if the bottom's open and you have airflow, it ain't going in there. So my lens is frosted up, which was fine. I was on the fence of whether I was going to paint them yellow anyways and try and do a metallic yellow, because I have, these metallic paints that work somewhat well for that kind of stuff. I have a lot of radiance and neons and different polarizing effects I can do. But what I did do is I finished that mask as best as I could. It looks shitty when it's green on white. But I've got the lenses on there. I'll paint that up. I've got just a strap with the dust cover on the back. And then that silly little nose piece, I just made my own. And then once that's settled and hardened, and it's almost hardened now, I made it earlier today, I'll probably put a little bit more to smooth it out and make it look more pointed towards the end of that nose, right like that. Towards the end of the nose, more like what the original figure had. Right now I've got that conical or that cylinder in there, just kind of mapping it out. But that's where it goes. I knew this would be a 2-day dry and add kind of thing, so we got that started. So boom. You know what the best part of today was, guys? I tuned into It's Chad just before coming on here tonight. And he had all the big names there, but more importantly, Ron Rudat was there, and I got to ask Ron Rudat a question today, and that was awesome, man. Ron Rudat answered my question. I asked how he felt about the new designs of Wolf Spider, but more importantly, Shooter and Helix, which were two girls he never got to design that came to Classified. And you know, you didn't answer from that perspective. I didn't ask it from that perspective, but I was kind of hoping it would get answered in that perspective, you know. But yeah, it was just what a great thing. I was thinking about that the whole time, you know. Part of me, I can't remember the other people that were there. I was paying half attention, making dinner, doing stuff, but I'm like, I am sitting here live with Ron Rudat, the guy who gave me the best Christmases of my life and some of the strongest, clearly, childhood memories. You could say he formed my career at some point, and you wouldn't be that wrong. Anyways, I thought that was cool. Anyways, that's how I spent my day. So, guys, the last part, I said I was going to do Wolverines, and I am. Wolverines, I decided, are too fun of a concept to turn down. So when I present the first one, I will go make sure to make a big deal about Shane Bryla and all the guys. I can't remember who started the conversation, but I know it got support. And so I am doing the Wolverines in my thing. You know, look at that. I was even playing around with doing the idea of a little file card photo for your character. If you win the 350 contest, I'll do a file card for your guy. Give him a little write-up. But yeah, I was playing with Wolverine concepts because there were two other lines I wanted to play with Classified 6-inch scale. One of them was the Wolverines now, but another was Scooby-Doo and the Gang, because yes, I was aware of the post-apocalyptic Scooby-Doo and the Gang, but my friends and I had talked about what a great twist it would be because of Riverdale and all these other things. Why wouldn't you eventually get to Scooby and the Gang, right? But I thought, what about a dystopic America, war-torn society, Scooby and the Gang? So you're going to start seeing guys like that show up in the background, and what they're going to be is they're going to be the characters made from the figures I find when I'm out in the hunts that are compatible with the 6-inch line that I don't necessarily have a Joe plan for, right? Maybe they're just a little too small. Maybe the heads aren't right for it. Maybe there's something hokier about it. But as background characters formed up as the Wolverines, I think they're going to be a lot of fun. And yeah, you know, like I'm going to use whatever I can to make them work, but I'm gonna have a little leave of forgiveness if they look like you know, a little bit too manga at times or things like that. I'm just gonna be like, whatever, that's youthful as I can do. But yeah, we're gonna get a version of this. Now I can't go out and get like a C. Thomas Howell, Patrick Swayze, Charlie Sheen, Jennifer Grey head molds. I don't know if they make any of those, but we'll get a representation of these guys, but not necessarily like that as much as we want them like this, right? Because I really want to do that Soviet anti-armor version there. I want to do this version of these guys and do mix in some winter cams so they are compatible with my wolf pack. So guys, thanks very much for that suggestion. So yeah, I did up a little plan, and I'm going to incorporate my fried Shaggy Velma Daphne in there. Will they have a dog? I don't know. If I find a good dog, but you think the dog survived the war? I don't think the dog would. Anyways, the thing about the Wolverines that I'm going to tell you right now that you guys are going to like or dislike, but screw it, Crow's taking this idea away. Mine now, but your credit. These aren't just going to be Wolverines. That's copyright infringement. I have to put something in front of it. These are going to be Mercer's Wolverines. I am going to do a Mercer, Taurus, and Red Dog, because the Renegades are basically going to be the mentors of these Wolverines in this resistance setting. So I already have one drafted up from the Fortnite figure that I got there. It'll be based off, I think, Jennifer Gardner's character, Tony. I just renamed it Tess as a working title, so I don't feel like I'm just ripping everybody off. But you'll see I've worked out which cam I want on her pants and things like that. So I actually have that one started. He says it before he finds the characters. This is so true. Oh, yeah. So I've got that one started, right, for the pants, and I got those funky boots to go with it. And then This was also a part of it. I've got that sweater and I just took it all out and I primed and got everything black because that sweater just sits over, and that's what hides that abnormal gap between the legs and the cod piece there that we're seeing that I was concerned about before. That actually hides it very nicely. So that'll go with the Star Wars torso right there, and I already locked that before. It'll work. And that'll be our very first Wolverine. Now, I really want to do Powers Booth guy there, but I think Powers Booth played the soldier that mentored them. But I think it's a better idea to do Mercer. So I'm going to bump Mercer up on the priority list here as I do those. But I'm going to carry on with my winter theme and then close them out and get back to my Cobra 788 theme. Hey guys, that's it for me tonight. I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow is my Fig Thursday where I go in the wild. But I already know I'm picking up a couple used ones. I'll present them tomorrow. I don't think anything's available for my pre-orders yet, so maybe I'll grab another, just a single bag. But I've got this trip coming up to Value Village, so you probably won't see much new from me. You'll probably see things you've already seen presented in a way you haven't seen them. How's that? All right. Hey, if I don't see you till then, I better see you Saturday. All right, guys. Thanks for